What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Mike Thomas's garage. Right here, right here in the garage this evening. As you can see, I got the motor from the boat sitting here behind me. I got the oil pan off of it, got the intake and everything off of it. We ran into a situation, as you guys can, when I put out the last video, that we hurt the motor, or we thought that the motor was hurt. When I went to fire it last weekend, the motor kind of locked up and released, and so I figured when that happened there was something badly wrong with the motor. So, and when it kind of locked up a little bit and then released, I figured there was something badly wrong, of course. So I called a buddy of mine that has kind of went through this before, and he thought that I might have a bent rod and stuff. So when it locked up and released, it shook the boat really good and everything. So yep. And then I found out that there was water pouring out of the little pinholes on the headers. So I looked at my water valve for the headers that control that fancy billet valve that I can control the water going to the headers. Found out that was leaking. So there was water. I figured water was getting in that way, and as I was cranking the motor over, it was just dumping in the motor. And so yeah, so after the motor locked up and released, I stopped. The motor never fired, the boat never fired. So that was a good thing there. But when it locked up and shook and did all that, I stopped. I got the boat back in here and saw that there was water pouring out of the headers in the back there. First thing I thought was that fancy billet control valve that I put up there by the driver's seat was causing an issue, and pulled that all apart, checked, and put water back to the boat, and yeah, there was water bypassing that and running. I figured that, so it was running back to the little T for the headers, and so I figured that was it. So then I figured, well, if it's doing that, then it was dumping water into the motor. And then went to pull the dipstick, the oil level was raised about an inch. And so yeah, so I started looking at that. I disconnect the water lines from that, and then so yeah, I figured that was it and all that. So so that's when I started pulling the plugs, and there was water on the plugs, and so I kind of blew them all off. And so the first thing I started doing was getting the oil out of the motor. Went and got some WD-40. I started spraying down the cylinders and getting that all over, and then I was spinning the motor over, trying to kind of get that all sprayed out, get the cylinders lubricated. And so I got that all done and everything. Last weekend or during the week, I started getting that stuff done. Kept spraying WD-40 down the cylinders, and so we did that. And then so then I got the motor out yesterday, because like I said, I was figuring that the motor was hurt and damaged and everything. And so good news. So the good news is the motor is not hurt. It's not damaged. As of right now, there's two more things that I need to check. I need to pull one of the rod caps off, one of the main caps off, so I can check the bearings for both of those and make sure that they did not lose their coating and stuff that's on the bushings, or not the bushings, the bearings for both the rods and the crank. And if that's all good, then I'll put that all back together, torque it, and I will dump some oil down. I'll get the oil pan, finish getting the oil pan all cleaned up, and then I'll put the oil pan back together on the motor, and then I will put oil in the motor, and then I'll get my rod to prime up the pump, pull the valve covers off, check to make sure everything's getting oil, and make sure that the bearings are getting oiled and everything. That should be oil going through that. And then I'll drain the oil, remove the oil filter, dump it, and then I'll put the oil filter back on and put the drain plug back in it, pour more oil into it, and prime it, turn it over, trying to get the rest of the little bit of water that's still in it, in the bearings and stuff, kind of get that all cleaned out, ready to go. And then I'll do that probably several times until I feel comfortable to I say it's good. But as of right now, the oil pan's off of it right now, so all the moisture and can get out of the motor. So far everything seems to be good. Still has compression. I put the plugs back in it, rotated it over. Compression, I feel like I hear that the compression's still there, so that's a good sign there for me. And none of the push rods are bent, none of the rods are bent. Everything still looks great underneath the oil pan. So back to pulling the motor back out. So I started pulling it out yesterday, and once I got to getting the blower off, and then I removed the intercooler. And after I removed the intercooler, so right there in the intake, kind of some parts, I did see water sitting on top of the intake. And so once I got the intercooler moved out, I kind of tipped it over and stuff. As a matter of fact, let me show you since I have it right here. Right here is the intercooler. So this part right here sits on the intake. So when I pulled it, there was water sitting kind of down in between here and the core. And so what I did is I got this and I pulled this off of the intake to put on here. Got another capped this off, and then I got that blue hose. There's the other side's over there, and I hooked it up to this fitting, and then the other one to this one, and I pressurized the intercooler. And this from here to here, there's water shooting here, there's water coming out in here, and there's water coming out here. So that kind of told me right there that that's where all the water was coming from, and why there was about an inch of water in the motor, because it was just dumping water in from right there. So we can, from what I understand, is that we can get a core and just pull one of the ends off this billet piece here. Just pull one of the ends off and pull the old core out, put a new one in it, and do that. So I will be getting a new core coming for the intercooler, and I'll be getting the new one installed. And then I will also, before I put it on the motor, I will have it tested. I will pressure test. I will run water through it just to make sure that that one's not leaking before we put it on the motor, because I don't want to run into this situation again. So I will kind of pressurize the system up and make sure that it's not leaking before we put it on the motor. So if that checks out good, then all we have to do is put the intercooler and the blower and step back on. So by the end of this week, we should have the motor button back up. I'm going to have the intake put back on it this week, the oil pan put back on it this week. That is depending on the rod bearings and the main bearings, making sure that those are still good. If those check out good, then yes, by the end of this week, I will have the oil pan put back on it, intake put back on it, and it all primed up with oil, get the rest of this junk out of there. I do believe we have everything out of it now, all the water's out of it and stuff and all that. So by next weekend, the motor should be, my goal is the motor should be back together and ready to be set back in the boat. There's a few things that I need to do on the boat that I found that I needed to get dressed while the motor's out. So this kind of worked out really good to pull the motor, and so I can tidy up some wiring that's kind of dangling back there that I missed on zip tying stuff up. So, and then I also found a couple water lines that were loose that I found. So I'm going to go ahead and get those tightened up, and I got to get the water out of the back where the motor was sitting, get that all cleaned out. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull the filter on the fuel pump, and I'm going to make sure that's not getting plugged. This would be a perfect time to pull that, clean it, and make sure that is good to go. And then if that's all good, then I'll put it all back together, make sure it's all clean, put it back together, and then the boat should be good to go for getting the motor installed. And so my goal is by not this coming up, not next weekend, but the weekend after next, um, we can get the motor put back in. I'm hoping not this week, but next week we can be pretty close to put the motor in. Hopefully, a week from this coming up Friday, I can get the motor put back in it, because I can put the intercooler and stuff on, the intercooler and the blower on with the motor and the boat. So that's gonna be my goal. So hopefully here in the next 2 weeks, I can get the motor put back in the boat and get it to where it's almost ready to fire. Try to fire again. Luckily enough, the motor didn't start, never fired up, and that. So pretty thankful for that, because I'm pretty sure if this thing would have fired, there would have been a lot more damaged. It could have been really bad. So really thankful for that. So we're going to go ahead and get it put back together. I do need to do some repairs to the trailer. I did find out the axles tweaked a little bit, so I need to do some repairs there and stuff. I kind of was already told what I need to do to fix it, so we're going to get that fixed. So we're going to hopefully get that fixed and repaired so we can get out there and do some traveling and do some lake time and testing and stuff. So, and then after I get the motor put back in, get it fired up, and everything's good there, the spare motor is going to be getting done. So I've already finalized everything for that. I decided to go ahead and say I've already decided and said that we're going to get the spare motor done. So once this is done, fired up, ready to go, and it's ready to go to hit the lake, then I'm going to get the spare block ordered, the rotating assembly ordered, and get it down to the machine shop. And then after that, it's just a matter of getting an oil pan and heads and stuff for that motor. And then that way the intake and everything from the front, so everything from here to the front of the motor that you see here that's on the front of this motor, besides the balancer, will be going on to the new motor. So that way whenever we switch motors, the valve covers, the pulley here, the crank trigger, and the blower pulley, the belt, the pulley for the alternator, the crank trigger, and the motor plate, and then the intake, blower, and the carburetors will come off of this motor and go on my spare motor. That is one of the things that I looked at for the spare block, that it had the right deck height to fit this intake and stuff. So that way everything from this motor can go onto that one, and we'll be ready to plug and play for the spare motor. So that is finalized. We're going to go ahead and start getting wheels in. The wheels are going to be set in motion once this is fired up in the boat. No other issues. And so, like I said, by the end of this month, the spare block will be coming, and the rotating assembly will be coming. And once I get those here, those can go to the machine shop and getting that going, and then it'll come back and get the heads, oil pan, kind of all that stuff, and getting that going. So that's going to be happening this end of this month. That's going to be going and getting stuff situated on that, so we can have a spare motor for this and all that. So yeah, because if I had the spare motor for this and it was done and ready to go, then this motor would come out, replace the intercooler, set the other motor in it, and be done. But at least for the future, that's what the plan is, and where we can pull the motor out and set it all up. So this intercooler kind of has set us back a little bit, but not too much. We'll go ahead and get it fixed and get it all put back together. But I'm really grateful that the motor is not damaged, and where it has to be completely tore down or sent back to Blueprint. So we're gonna go ahead and again we're gonna just get new oil. The gaskets and stuff are still good. Luckily enough, it didn't start or run or fire up. So we should be able to just put the oil pan back on it. I'll put some silicone on it and stuff, and just do it from that, and we should be good to go. Intake gaskets are still good. They're not torn. They're still attached. So I just need to clean off the old silicone and from the intake and on the valley there, and then we can put the intake back on, and I'll get it set back on number one, get the distributor set back on number one, and start putting things back together once I get the oil primed through and get it all situated. So yeah, just an update. I know I wanted to do a video of me pulling the motor and stuff out yesterday, but ran into some issues with getting the video going and stuff and all that. So, so yeah, we ran into some issues trying to get the camera and stuff to work and all that. So I will have everything ready to go for whenever the motor goes back into the boat and all that. I will definitely will be doing a video for reinstalling the motor, because as I put everything back in, reinstall the motor, it's pretty much the same way when I pulled it out. So, but I will show everybody that, and I will be a little bit more prepared when I do the next video for putting the motor back in. So that's just a quick little update on the motor and the boat, and that's pretty much about it. So like I said, we're gonna get this hopefully put back together and situated by the end of this week. And I said I could probably do a video, and I probably will do a video on going through the process of priming up the oil, getting the oil run through, draining it, and checking all that. And we can get the intake put back on, the oil pan put back on. So that'll probably be the next video that I will do, is get this all situated, get this all put back together, and then after that video, then the next video will be getting the motor set back in. I'm not going to do showing the videos for zip tying stuff up in the back, because there's some wires and stuff that I need to get zip tied that I thought I got but didn't. So I'm going to get that addressed, get that all zip tied up back there. So I'm not going to really show you guys that, because that'll just be boring for you guys to show, for you guys to see that. So, but definitely when the motor goes back in, I will do a video for that, and I will make sure I'm more prepared to do that. So that's pretty much the update on the motor and everything. So it's kind of some good news, kind of bad news. Intercooler has caused me some headaches here, but we're going to get it fixed and get it addressed and everything. So my goal is to have it fired up by the end of this month and stuff, depending on how quickly we can get the core for the intercooler and stuff here, because without that, we're kind of stopped on getting the motor fired up. But my goal is to have the boat fired up at the end of the month. Either at the end of the month or before the end of the month is what my goal is. So, so that's my plan. I will keep you guys updated on when this thing is going to get fired and all that. So, I think that's it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but I think that's everything. That's just an update on the motor. I really do appreciate you guys watching. Please, again, like and subscribe and turn that bell notification on. It really means a lot to me if you guys can do that. And there's going to be more to come for content and stuff. We just need to get through the craziness with this boat, and hopefully we can get this done and get out there and start having some fun with it and everything. So once we get through all these little hiccups and stuff with it, then we should be on the home stretch of just testing, dialing, getting the motor dialed in and everything, and no other issues. At some point, we will get this controlled and handled and stuff. Just little things like this right here is causing quite a bit of headaches and stuff. But I think once this is fixed, I think everything else is done. Everything else is brand new. Fuel pump, everything's brand new. So I think after this, we should be on the home stretch on getting this thing dialed in, ready to go, and start having some fun, and see if we do a little bit of racing and all that stuff. And all that. I'm kind of looking forward to it. I know right now it's kind of a struggle on getting this boat built and put back together and all that, because I definitely want to see if I can get it in the triple digits for the mile an hour. I'm not gonna. There's a triple digit number that I have in my mind that I like to hit with it, and I believe we can do it. And it's just going to take quite a bit to get there. So I think once we get through all these new bugs and stuff for the boat, we should be able to meet that number. But I think that's pretty much about it. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else, but there isn't. So we are going to get this old girl running again and start having some fun. But I think we are on the right path to get it going and everything. So that's pretty much about it. Just wanted to give you guys an update and keep you guys informed on the boat and everything. Again, I really appreciate you guys watching the videos. It also really means a lot to me that if you guys hit that subscribe button and turn that bell notification on, so that way you know when I post videos, and there will be more content coming to the channel. Just bear with me. Just need to get this project done, and this way we can start going out enjoying it, and then we can get on to the other projects. I know I was going to set this to the side, but right now I can't really find a storage unit to put the boat in and all that. So we're going to go ahead and just stick with this project, fight it out, and we are going to win on this to get this thing running and get this to where I like it to be and all that. And hopefully, again, I like to go down the Colorado River down there in Arizona, around Parker, Arizona, and all those people that go down there. I think it'd be great to go down there, hang around with those guys down there, meet those guys, and because I've kind of watched some of the videos and stuff there on those, and I'd really like to meet those guys and hang around them and all that stuff. So let's do this. Let's get this going. I can't wait. I think we're heading in the right direction now. We just have had a lot of hiccups along the way here, but I think we're on the right track now to get this thing running again and getting it back out there. I just didn't think it was going to be this bad to get this boat back up and running, but it has set for about 12 to 13 years, so I'm pretty much having to rebuild the boat and fuel lines, water lines, get everything up to date, kind of repair things, get it brand new. But I believe after this go around, everything should be good to go. Besides, the only thing that will need to be done eventually is having the boat re-gel coat. So I'm going to try to baby it for a few more years and all that. So that's pretty much it, guys. I really do appreciate you guys watching, and it means a lot to me. And I really do appreciate the subscribers we have already. And it also means a lot to me if we can get more subscribers, and you can share with your friends and share with everyone, and let's keep growing this channel. It means a lot to me. And also, again, like, subscribe, and turn that bell notification on, and let's grow this channel. Let's start having fun and take you guys with me with this boat, having some fun. So I really appreciate you guys watching. It does mean a lot to me. So, and we will see you guys on the next one. Thank you.